Once upon a time, in a prosperous kingdom lying between golden rice fields and deep green forests, there stood a towering castle whose spires seemed to touch the clouds. The people of that kingdom were gentle, hard-working, and deeply devoted to their king. King Alar was not only strong and majestic, but also famous for his fairness and his love for his people. By his side was Queen Mira, a kind-hearted woman as warm and gentle as the morning sunlight. They had only one child, Prince Evan. Prince Evan grew up in the castle, yet he was never arrogant. He was taught a crown is not something you wear just to look beautiful. It is a responsibility. Evan learned to ride horses, practice swordsmanship, read books, listen to music, and study foreign languages. But what the king and queen cared about most was teaching him to be a good person. Evan was intelligent, kind, polite, and thoughtful toward others. Those small acts made everyone cherish him as if he were family. Time passed, and Evan gradually became a young man. His hair was dark, his eyes bright, his figure tall, and his voice calm and deep. Around then, the kingdom began buzzing with a familiar question: when will the prince get married? But Evan was not in a hurry. One night, sitting by the window and gazing at the moon hanging over the highest tower, he quietly said to Queen Mira, "Mother, I want to find someone who truly suits me. I don't want to marry just because of a title." "It's Mender." Queen Mira smiled gently. "My son is right. A good life partner will share your joy, ease your worries, and help you do what is right." King Alar nodded as well, though his voice remained serious. "Remember, Evan, when you become king, every decision you make will affect the entire kingdom. The person who stands beside you will affect it too. Find someone worthy." Evan bowed his head. "Yes, father," but finding someone worthy was not easy. Evan heard many stories about princesses in other kingdoms. He thought, perhaps I must go meet them myself, see with my own eyes, and feel with my own heart. And so, one early morning, while dew still rested lightly on the grass, Evan put on his cloak and walked out through the castle gates. King Alar saw him off with eyes full of pride and worry. Queen Mira handed Evan a handkerchief. She said, "Look at this handkerchief. It will remind you that I always pray for your safety. Wear it." Evan took it and smiled. "Thank you, Mother." Thus his journey began. Evan traveled through strange lands. Some days he rode across endless rice fields, the wind carrying the sweet scent of straw. Some days he crossed tall pine forests where the rustling breeze sounded like an old fairy tale. Wherever there was a castle, Evan would ask to meet the princess, and indeed, he met many princesses, but none were as he had hoped. After many disappointments, Evan grew weary. Each time he left a place behind, he wondered, does a true princess really exist? In the end, Evan returned to the castle. King Alar looked at his son and knew he was disappointed. Queen Mira placed a hand on Evan's shoulder and said softly, "You have tried. Don't lose heart. Sometimes destiny arrives when we least expect it." Evan did not fully understand, but her words felt like a small lamp in the night. And just as the queen had said, the stormy night of destiny arrived. That day, the sky darkened unusually fast. Wind shrieked through the trees, scattering leaves like thousands of tiny scraps of paper. Thunder boomed like drums of war. Rain poured down in torrents, as if someone in the heavens were dumping water onto the earth. Inside the castle, torches on the walls flickered. Prince Evan sat by the fireplace, watching sparks leap upward. He remembered the long roads, the meetings, and his disappointments. King Alar sat at the table, reading letters from across the realm. Queen Mira knitted a wool scarf, Suddenly, bang, bang, loud knocking shook the door, startling everyone. The servant Theo ran to it with a torch in hand. When the door opened, a blast of cold wind and rain swept inside. In the torchlight stood a young woman, trembling. Her hair was soaked and clung to her forehead and cheeks. Her lips were purple from the cold. She bowed her head, her voice weak but clear. Please, please let me stay for the night.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I'm lost in the storm. Theo quickly ushered her in. Leah rushed over with a dry towel, and Queen Mira stood up, her eyes filled with concern. My child, Queen Mira said, come in and sit near the fire. You're freezing. The girl thanked her and sat down. Prince Evan looked at her. She wore no jewelry. She had no attendants. Yet the way she bowed in gratitude, the way she sat with quiet composure, and the gentle way she spoke, all of it caught Evan's attention. Queen Mira asked, what is your name? Where were you going when you met this storm? The girl replied, Your Majesty, my name is Lena. I am a princess. I was on my way to visit relatives, but the storm came too quickly. I lost my way, and when I saw the castle lights, I dared to knock. King Alar spoke, his voice not harsh but doubtful. Girl, you say you are a princess, but are you traveling alone? Lena lowered her head. Your Majesty, my carriage and attendants were separated when the wind grew violent. I ran to find shelter and got cut off from them. I don't know where they are now. I only hope to stay here one night, and in the morning I will try to find my way back. Prince Evan felt sympathy.
Quite high, isn't it?
He remembered the loneliness of the road, but he also understood why his father doubted her royal rank could not be believed by words alone. At that moment, Queen Mira smiled faintly, as if an idea had come to her. Rest for now, she said. I will have a room prepared for you. Then she turned to Theo and Leah. Prepare a clean bedroom for the girl. And I want a very special bed. Theo and Leah exchanged glances, but they bowed. Yes, Your Majesty. After Lena had been settled, Queen Mira went into a quiet room. There stood a fine wooden bed carved with leaves and flowers. The queen opened a small chest and took out a tiny pea round, pale green, no bigger than a fingernail. She placed the pea at the very bottom of the bed, right where a person would lie. Then she told Theo, bring me 20 thick, soft mattresses. Theo and the other servants hurried off. They carried in large, fragrant mattresses and stacked them one by one, layer upon layer. Queen Mira added, now bring 20 warm feather blankets. Leah and the maids carried them in and stacked them on top. When they finished, the bed rose like a small tower. Leah gasped, oh my, it's so high. Queen Mira nodded. Exactly, bring a ladder. When Lena entered the room, her eyes widened in surprise. The bed was so tall, she needed a ladder to climb up. Lena asked softly, Your Majesty, why is the bed so high? Queen Mira smiled, because I want you to sleep comfortably. Don't worry. Lena did not ask more. She simply bowed in thanks and carefully climbed the ladder step by step. The blankets and mattresses were soft, clean, and warm. Lena closed her eyes, hoping for a long, restful sleep. But before long, she frowned. Under her back, it felt as if something hard was pressing against her. She turned. It still pressed. She changed position. Still the same. She hugged the blanket and tried to ignore it. But the discomfort lingered like a grain of sand in a shoe tiny, yet enough to make walking impossible. She told herself, maybe I'm just exhausted and imagining things. Still, the deeper the night grew, the more her back and shoulders ached. She tossed and turned again and again. Each movement made the blankets rustle softly. In another room, Prince Evan could not sleep either.
Lena,
He paced by the
you are
window,
a true princess
thinking,
of rare
if she is
sensitivity.
truly a princess, then I may have found what I longed for.
Forgive me, princess.
But if she is not, I will be disappointed once more. He
Thank you for
remembered
your
Lena's
shelter,
clear
Prince
eyes and the way she spoke with gratitude, and he prayed for a good outcome. Near dawn, Lena sat up and rubbed her shoulders and back. She was tired, but she tried to remain composed.
Lovely.
I am a guest, she thought. I must not complain. The next morning, early sunlight filled the dining hall. The smell of warm bread drifted through the air.
I was telling Prince
On the
Evan all
table
about
were
my
honey,
homeland
milk,
and the
and
wonderful
fruit.
lessons in
Queen
music
Mira entered,
and
her expression gentle.
There are
Good
many
morning,
distant
Lena.
kingdoms to explore.
Did you sleep well last
The
night?
path is not always
Lena
easy.
hesitated, then
I
answered
understand your
honestly,
disappointment.
Your Majesty, I'm sorry, but I barely slept. There was something very hard in the bed. My whole body aches.
So how do you propose
Prince
we
Evan's
achieve true
eyes
fairness in
widened,
governance, Lena?
his
A
heart
just ruler
pounding.
must first listen
King
to
Alar
people
looked
like
toward
me,
the
and then
queen.
act with
Queen
compassion.
Mira smiled, a smile both kind and certain. Is that so? Where does it hurt? In my back, shoulders, and hips, Lena replied. Queen Mira nodded and turned to Theo. Theo, Leah, take the bed apart. They quickly removed the blankets, then the mattresses, layer by layer. When the final layer was lifted, everyone saw
I
it,
trust
a
Lena's
tiny
heart,
pea
Alar.
at the bottom of the bed. Queen Mira picked it up between 2 fingers and showed it to King Alar. He examined it carefully, then nodded. Queen Mira said, My child, only someone truly delicate and sensitive could feel a pea like this beneath 20 mattresses and 20 blankets.
I promise to do good
Lena,
with you.
You are a true princess. Lena blushed partly from embarrassment, partly from relief. Evan let out a breath as if a great burden had lifted from his chest. He stepped forward and bowed politely. Princess Lena, I apologize for doubting you, and I am truly glad you came. Lena looked at Evan. Her smile was small, yet warm as the first sunlight of morning. Prince Evan, I am also grateful that you opened the door for me on that stormy night. From that day on, everything in the castle seemed brighter. Evan and Lena often walked together through the flower garden. The royal garden held red roses, purple lavender beds, and apple trees heavy with fruit. Evan told Lena about his journeys, distant lands, and the people he had met. Lena told Evan about her own kingdom music lessons, etiquette, and the fear she had felt when she was lost in the storm. Evan realized Lena was not only gentle, but also brave, a young woman who dared to knock on a castle door in a storm to save her life. Lena realized Evan was not only courteous, but also attentive, someone who listened and thought of others. Queen Mira watched them and saw that Evan's smile was more genuine than before. She saw that Lena spoke with sincere eyes. King Alar also grew more trusting. He discussed governance with Lena, and she never boasted. She listened carefully, asked the right questions, and sometimes offered opinions that were soft yet insightful. King Alar thought she could be a good queen. Then one afternoon, when golden sunlight lay across the garden lake, Evan stopped beneath a willow tree. He looked at Lena, suddenly nervous though he had traveled far. This was the moment that made his heart tremble most. Lena, he said, I have traveled very far to find a true princess. I thought I would never find one, but destiny brought you to me in a storm. If you agree, I want you to stay here, not only for one night, but for a lifetime. Lena was quiet for a moment. The breeze lifted her hair gently. Then she smiled. If the prince believes I can stand beside him and do good for the kingdom, then I agree. Evan was so happy he could barely speak. He bowed his head and held Lena's hand, as if afraid that letting go would make the happiness disappear. News of the prince's wedding spread through the kingdom faster than bells could ring. People hung flags outside their homes, Children ran through the streets cheering. Bakers made extra sweet cakes. Tailors stitched more ribbons. Theo and Leah were busy too. Theo rehearsed ceremonies with the guards to ensure everything would be dignified, while Leah and the maids chose fabrics and embroidered flowers onto the wedding dress, careful with every stitch. Queen Mira personally prepared Lena's crown. She chose one that was not too large, not too dazzling, but refined, set with small stones like drops of dew. "You don't need anything too radiant," Queen Mira told Lena, "because your sincerity is already radiant." However, Lena was touched and bowed. "Thank you, Mother." On the night before the wedding, King Alar called Evan into his chamber. He placed a hand on his son's shoulder and said, "Evan, you have chosen the right person. But remember, marriage is not only a wedding, it is ordinary days too. Always respect each other, listen to each other, and stand together for what is right." Evan answered solemnly, "Yes, Father, I will remember." The wedding day arrived. Church bells rang, flowers were scattered across the courtyard. Under the sun, the castle seemed to shine. Evan stood in ceremonial clothing, upright, though his hands trembled slightly with excitement. Lena stepped out in her wedding dress. Leah adjusted the hem. Queen Mira adjusted the crown. When Lena walked to Evan's side, he looked at her as if she were a miracle. King Alar and Queen Mira stood nearby, proud and deeply moved. Their vows echoed across the courtyard. "I promise to respect and love you. I meant it. I promise to share every joy and sorrow with you." The people applauded. Flowers drifted on the wind. Music rose bright and festive. The banquet lasted long into the day. Sweet cakes, fruit, roasted meats, music, and dancing. Evan and Lena laughed so much their cheeks ached. King Alar, who rarely laughed out loud, laughed that day. Queen Mira wiped tears of happiness, and the tiny pea that changed fate, was placed by Queen Mira into a crystal box, clear and sparkling. King Alar ordered it displayed in the treasure chamber, so everyone could see it, not to boast about a pea, but to remind the kingdom that truth can sometimes be found in the smallest things. Many years later, when Evan and Lena had become king and queen, they still told the story to children. Whenever it rained, children would come running and ask, "Your Majesty, can someone really feel a pea under 20 mattresses?" Lena would laugh and say, "Yes, if you are truly delicate and sincere." Ole. And Evan would add, "But the most important thing is not the pea. The most important thing is kindness, because if that night we had not opened the door, destiny could never have stepped inside." The children would listen, their eyes bright as stars, and the pea in the crystal box still lay there silent, tiny, yet a witness to a wonderful tale, the tale of a true princess, and of a prince who learned that what matters most is not outward appearance, but the heart within.